So with that being said, guys, we have an exciting conversation today with two amazing small business owners and really entrepreneurs they have a great idea that could get very big really fast. And it's already in process of doing that. And their names are Michael Swerner. I hope I said that right, Michael. You'll correct me in a second. All right. And Darren Heimbrook. Did I say that right, Darren?
Yeah, you got it.
All right, perfect. Great. I'm starting off to a good start. So Michael Swerner is a Miami native and the son of a Peruvian mother and an American father who was also a small business owner. And their influence drove him to challenge himself, and that nurtured his entrepreneurial spirit. He has extensive experience working with SMBs, small and medium sized businesses, and gave him insights into how frustrating and time consuming recruiting can be for them. He later moved to finance and became an investor at various hedge funds. And one of the sectors he covered was the recruitment space through analyzing companies like Recruit, which is the owner of Indeed and Glassdoor. And he's a Yale MBA, has a master's in accounting and BA from the University of Michigan, a CPA, and he's a chartered financial analyst. So a lot of great knowledge there accumulated in Michael. That being said, also a co-founder is Darren Heimbrook. He is the co-founder of Seeker as well and has extensive experience working with digital apps with the biggest brands in the world, Coca-Cola, Geico, Burger King, etc. And he's developing, he's helped them to develop award-winning campaigns and UI and UX. If you don't know what that means, it's user interface and user experience designs. His insight into advertisement, media, and design is crucial for the Seeker app's attractiveness to their customers. So please help me welcome Michael and Darren to the Morning Huddle. Gentlemen.
Thanks, everyone.
I love it. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Really excited to be here.
And Danielle, thank you for that lovely intro. We really
thank you so much.
It.
Yeah, thank you. Listen, it's from the heart. I'm excited to talk. You have two, I call them whippersnappers, right? You guys are doing something amazing. You're trying to disrupt an innovation that was started 500 years ago by Leonardo da Vinci, the first resume, right? And we're finding out that doesn't fit anymore with the modern life, and especially for our young people. They're finding that a restrictive tools. Take it away. I mean, there's so much to talk about. I'll start with Michael, and then we'll move to Darren, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. I'll just go a little bit into our origin story. Danilo, you got our backgrounds. I actually moved back down to Miami in mid-2020. And a buddy of mine who has a roof tile company, a small business owner, was complaining to me about how frustrating it is hiring people, especially yard workers, who are often the face that his customers see. And he complained that, I said, what's wrong? And he said, well, resumes are useless because they're often just starting out, so there's not much on there. I don't get a sense of them before bringing them in. He would go on social media, spend a lot of time. Sometimes he knew immediately that it wasn't going to be a fit, but he still had to go and interview them. And I started digging into that, and I realized there really is an opportunity. And that's when Darren actually had just moved down to Miami as well.
Yeah, so I came back too. Mike and I both were coming back to Miami, and I've lived here previously. He and I met 20 years ago through mutual friends here in Miami, and we've kind of gone off and done our careers. And this is like a new career phase for us, building a new product to help better connect small business and job seekers. So we just, Mike's phone call to me, which I still love, was like, hey, talk me out of this idea. So we were, this is at the height of the pandemic, really. And we were like, there really is something here to find a better way to digitally connect people and humanize this process. We saw an incredible failing in a resume in terms of really representing someone. And then as we dug deeper, when we think about jobs where it's what we think of as our frontline workers, our service industry sector, a resume really can't tell you a lot about how, that doesn't really allow that person to market those soft skills they have in a resume. So we were like, how do we start creating a better human connection digitally? And then we looked at the landscape of the competitive set, the Indeeds and ZipRecruiters and things like that. And we realized too, those tools, the complaints from both sides. So we think a lot, we have a two-sided marketplace. So we really like to think a lot about what's going to make things better for a job seeker and what's going to make things better for small business and for our business owners. we wanted to create a more human connection quickly. And we realized that this is part of where our backgrounds merge. We're like, this is a massive marketing opportunity for the two parties. So we want to talk about that a little bit later. But so we wanted to create a better human connection. And then we wanted to give them one place to communicate, because we saw a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of fragmentation with the ways tools people complain about re-inputting data and this stuff, and then they never hear back. So we wanted to create a singular experience where if you can casually view opportunities, you can show your interest, and if you match, you get to connect directly all in one place to make it a lot easier to do that. And then it also removes some of that, the burden of reviewing resumes and deciding who to call and review and like applying to a lot of places and never hearing back from both parties. We wanted to create a much lower friction environment for the two parties to connect.
Wow.
And so that's where Seeker came from. And we really focused in on building this app experience for our local business. And we really think that this is a local product. So I think it's interesting, like we're playing in a space that can massively grow. So we see huge opportunity for us to go all across the country, but we said, we're here in Miami. We want to prove this concept can work in one market, and we want to do it in our home market here in Miami. And we want to help businesses that we can meet with. So we go out and we talk to our customers, so business owners like a lot of you who probably struggle with hiring, and we also talk to our job seekers who are in the same market. So we do a lot of know your customer.
Mhm.
We also like to know our job seekers too, so that we really figure out how to find better ways to connect you both and bring you two together. In some ways, we think of it as like we're like the modern recruiting firm. We're a heavily tech-enabled recruiting team for small business. And one of the questions that comes up a lot too is like, we could be focusing on the bigger businesses and like, the Targets and Walmarts of the world. But the reality is, for us, we saw our success by finding, or we're seeing our success by finding business owners that can see the value in this and providing them the service that they're not getting from recruiting, the available recruiting tools. Like we're really trying to create a white glove service. And I think, Manny, when you mentioned ChatGPT, it's kind of funny because one of the things that we're pushing back on is we don't mind using these tools the way you're talking about it as an enabling capability, but we really want to keep it human driven. We're for you and for job seekers, we are a local recruiter, and we want it. And as we grow, we intend to bring that to every market. Sorry, Mike, I kind of went rambling there.
No, fantastic.
That does cover what we're doing. And just to build a little bit, that resume was a problem for both sides. We know the business's frustrations, your frustrations, but also when you flip it, the job seekers also are frustrated because they're saying, I'm just starting out. I don't have anything on there. How can I differentiate myself? I'm awesome. How can I show that on a sheet of paper? So that's, for both sides, that's why we created Seeker, and both sides have a profile where you really get a sense of the other quickly. And you say, does this person make sense? Do they carry themselves in a way that would be great for my business? And vice versa, the job seekers, which is very big, especially with younger job seekers. Is this the kind of place I identify with and would like to work? And that's why we made Seeker, to really make it easier for both sides to hire and get hired.
Right. Wow. That's great. And I want to encourage everybody, as we're talking with Michael Swerner and Darren Heimbrook, from co-founders of Seeker, a new app that's connecting employers and employees, or potential employees and talent, I call them, with each other. So that being said, don't be shy and raise your hand. I'll pass you the mic if you have a question or a comment for Michael or Darren. So how does it work, guys? Let's say that I'm 20 years old. I'm entering the job market. And they tell me I have to create a resume, but you guys have a better idea. So how does it work?
So I think what'll end up happening, and I'd step that one step back before they even get to our app. They're going to end up, like, people in school are going to tell them, they're going to show them how to make resumes. They're going to start sending it out. They're going to be filling out applications, and they're going to go through the initial frustration process that every job seeker experiences, where you don't know if you got it right. You don't get feedback from your actual audience. So businesses, you've got mentors maybe telling you how to make a great resume, but the real audience for that is the hiring manager or the business owner, and that's where people end up not getting the feedback they need. And so, without being specific about the company, one of the quick questions that one of our clients told us that they always ask is, do you like people? And people, like, when we're thinking about a resume, how do you answer that question on a resume? So in that role, their job is great guest experiences. So you can't really put that there. So when we hopefully bring them into Seeker, which we've been doing a lot of that, we've been going to job fairs, meeting job seekers, helping find them and place them in roles. They realize that they have the opportunity to actually present and add more about themselves. So they get the opportunity, and this is one of the things, we've got kind of a list of bullet points we wanted to cover. One of them is, this is a marketing opportunity. So resume is your first layer of marketing towards a job opportunity. With a profile, our profile setup, you have the opportunity to go as shallow with it as you'd like. So you don't have to add a lot, and that probably won't suit you very well. But the more you add, the more you get to present you as a potential candidate to a business. So we request a picture at minimum. Now, we don't say it needs to be you. And we have great examples of this. We have a chef who included pictures of their food, which I love. We have a cargo management supervisor had a picture of a plane. But then we have other candidates who fill out their profiles with a variety of pictures that kind of present them as a real person. And then even a video where they're introducing themselves and saying, what they're interested in, and you get a sense of the person. We also, step some of that back too. We take the skills that you might add to your resume, and we've made it easier to show your skills and where you're comfortable. So it's more, you're selecting, bubbles that have your skill sets and things like that. We didn't eliminate all the resume details because it is nice to be able to have that, but we don't actually require it. So if you don't feel like putting your school, you don't put your school. If you do, great. Same with previous employment. But the reality is you get the opportunity to share little bits about yourself. And I think as job seekers have come on to that and we talk to them, they realize like this is an incredible resume replacement. And then when they're using our product, they don't need to alter it for any business or any opportunity that they're showing interest in. So that is what every opportunity sees. So we think for them as they use the product, it's job discovery. So they're seeing one opportunity at a time, and either they're interested or not interested. And then the business similarly is seeing their profile and is deciding if they're interested or not interested. One of the things that Mike and I were talking about that's really interesting, this too, is job seekers, and this is a big premise for us. And it's a big question actually for this whole group. When you're posting a job or you're looking to hire, how often are we putting our entire wish list of things in that job description, and then we're not getting the candidates we want? Because what we've discovered is like job seekers self-select out of trying to pursue those jobs that have a ridiculous wish list, and then a salary that doesn't line up with it, or experience requirements that don't line up with the job. So we've pressed, and one of the alterations to our product is you can't put an unlimited number of skills in your profile. So we have limits. I think it's about 10. There's your top skills. And then for businesses, when they're posting when you're putting a job on our app and doing recruiting through Seeker, we force you to actually rethink. It's like, what are the preferred, the necessary skills to do the job? And then what are the preferred? And we don't allow you to do an unlimited wish list for trying to pursue candidates. Because I think yeah, go ahead, Mike.
There's one thing I want to build on that, and this is a do's and don'ts when you're thinking of a job post. Really what a job post is, and a lot of small business owners don't think about it this way, and it took me to partner with Darren to really realize what this is your job post is an advertisement for job seekers. And thinking about it that way, you're competing against not only your industry, but other people who have similar skill sets. And one of the big no's that we see is people write everything is required, and they make this huge list. You must have 4 years of experience, and it goes on and on. And what we've really discovered when we talk to these businesses, oh, no, that's not really what we need. We would take someone with no experience. And it's like, guys, job seekers see that and go, man, I don't fit that. I did that earlier in my career and didn't even apply to jobs that I was probably a good candidate and a good fit for. So we encourage businesses to really put that minimum that you're looking for and then weed them out in the interview, because you're going to get a lot of great people, especially for entry-level roles. That's really big. And the other thing that we do at Seeker is we give the businesses, because this is an advertisement to get job seekers, we give you the opportunity to show your business as it is, which might not be that important for McDonald's because everybody knows McDonald's and has a good idea. I'm located in the Gables. I love Bashore and Madruga Bakery, but I might not know of those places if I've never been and live around the Gables and don't travel there. And those places look like great places to work. And showing who they are really brings that traction and brings job seekers in.
Wow. Yeah. I think that's very important. We have a couple of questions. I want to just, I'm going to go to Chevis and then Lakeisha. Chevis, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm still looking at the app now. I'm not sure if this works for you all, but I have a very niche market, and being a proponent for art, and for a long time being an art teacher, I found that a lot of my students weren't able to go to college to be artists because their parents kind of pushed them into a field that they thought would make more money. No, most people that I spoke to that are artists are not in that field. And so I find a lot of applicants through different job seeking who have great experience in so many other things, but they really want to do art. Is this something that that you may have on here? Because you may have been doing medical training or being a lawyer for all these years, you don't really get the passion that you feel, but you're really an artist at heart. Is there something on the app that allows someone like me who's seeking artists to kind of see and filter through their real passion and purpose, as an artist?
I'll answer that because it's actually very funny, Shilas. I love to cook. And I, in my prior life, apprenticed at a restaurant, a Michelin restaurant in New York when I lived there, and learned a ton. And in my profile, I chose one of my pictures as a picture of my food. And we have another job seeker who used to be on the app, but he found a job, so he went off. He's a barber, and he's also a Frank Sinatra singer. So he used the video section to post a video of himself singing. Then we have the optional, where you talk about these little bubbles where you can pick your interests. And I believe painting's on there, Darren, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a variety of interests, because we want people to share their interests. Like we in these roles, we want to get to the roles that we have on our app are roles where you're working side by side. So a lot of you work next to your employees, we're working next to each other. We want to get to know them. We want to know their interests. It tells you a lot about somebody, their interests. So I would say, and I love that too, because that's my background. I went to film school and studied art. I did quite a bit of the design that's in our app. And I work on it across I do a lot of our design work for our marketing and so forth. I wouldn't say I'm the best at that. I can't wait to have more help as we grow, but for now we're getting by. But it's interesting.
He's pretty good.
We're really focused on the service industry roles. That doesn't mean we would love to see artist opportunities on our product. So if we've got businesses that need that, we would love to see that on there. It's a great place to be able to share your skills. But we're also very realistic about what opportunities are on our app, and we're honest with businesses that meet with us too. I think one of the things that Mike and I talked about sharing this, and I think it's kind of important. We actually turned away a client because their role that they were looking for, they were asking for too many things and too low a salary. And we were kind of honest, you're welcome to use our product self-service. If you want the hands-on service that we also provide, then you have to work with us on having a role that we think we can actually help you fill. I would love to see artist opportunities on here, especially from my background. I love that. I'm a huge proponent of supporting the arts. If we can get artist roles here, that would make me incredibly happy. But in the immediate, we really have roles that are mostly driven in the service industry, because that's where we've discovered where the needs are. And because we're so early in this, we're being very focused where there's the most need. But we won't turn anybody away from using our product. And if there's any place looking for artists, I'm happy to help put you on the app and get you going and find artists as well. But again, being early, we're being narrowly focused so that we can get a good foothold here in the community and really be helping both our job seekers and our businesses.
Thank you for that.
I look forward to using the app.
Thanks, Chevis. I'm going to go next to Lakeisha. Lakeisha, happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Thank you for having me, Danilo. My question is for Darren. Darren, I wanted to know a little bit more about your app and how to position our job postings. We're in the service industry. A little bit about my background. I'm building an on-demand app for our beauty services and deliveries by licensed professionals at home. So this is the first time that we're actually trying to bring beauty home in a unique way. I know a lot of people experienced the salons closing down because they didn't have the on-demand API integration. So I've been working on this since 2017. And right now, Miami is the market for this service, and you see a lot of people uniquely doing it. So I want to know, is your app, since you say you are in the servicing industry, And this will be the first time that we're actually positioning this business like that, where the salons are actually moving into the service industry. Is it capable for, helping me introduce these new job roles to the community, being that right now Miami is number one in retail and innovation?
I love that. I think we could be a good fit. Like this is, I'd love to know more. Obviously, like we actually take a really hands-on approach. So I don't want to like go through. This is not meant to be a pitch, but if anybody is interested, contact us, because I think we like to go and understand what you're seeking and how we can help, and then helping you with profiles. I think I'd say the majority of opportunities currently on our app are in the food and beverage and hospitality space. So one of the things that we were going to cover a little bit too is some of the trends we've seen in Miami, but the development has spread across huge swaths of Miami. We've all experienced that over the last few years, especially. So we've been surprised how much, say, the beach and the hotels on the beach have reached out to us for help rapidly, because they have been struggling to fill their needs. So we've seen a lot of food and beverage and hospitality reach out to us specifically, because those roles, they're really struggling. I mean, probably everyone here has gone to a restaurant that doesn't seem full and they just don't have enough staff to service everybody who's there. That's where we're jumping in to help those businesses start to get to where they're at full capacity again. Like and so when the roles you're talking about, we'd be happy to talk further, but I think it's, especially in this space, like there's a lot of that, a lot of opportunity for those types of roles on our product. We do have quite a few people in the beauty industry as job seekers on our app, so that's also could be a very good fit. But being open and transparent about how we operate, like we know that probably 75 to 80% of our current job posts and job seekers are in the food and beverage and hospitality space right now. We hope to see that grow and expand over time, but that's where we are today.
Do you offer mentorship? Do you offer mentorship? I would like to connect with you guys a little bit more, if that is possible, because this is my first time building something like this as intricate, and I wish I can call Uber and DoorDash and ask them how they did it, but I can't. So I would like to, if we can connect a little bit more to see if, maybe we can add value to each other at this point.
Lakeisha, yeah. The answer is yes, absolutely. As Darren said too, we've had a lot of help from our friends who've done startups as well as the Miami community. And one thing I'll do a shout out to is Emerge Americas has been really helpful, and they're local. So there's someone to reach out to. But Lakeisha, we'd love to talk to you because we've had so much help from others and we've learned a ton. Yeah. So we're happy to. Yeah. So if I put my email on, send us an email and we can chat. We're based in the Gables. I don't know where you are. So
I'm nearby. I'm not too far, maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Yeah, we can find a place to meet.
Perfect.
Fantastic.
I look forward to it, guys.
I love it. This is what the Huddle is all
Fantastic.
Yeah. So so we have Natalia from Natush Media. Natalia, happy Friday.
Hi there, guys. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm sort of in the middle of a lot, so I'm not going to turn my camera on. But I also have a similar question to the previous person, more from an entrepreneurial standpoint. I'm not at all in your space, at all in that industry, but just from one entrepreneur to another who's trying to launch, some ideas, get them off the ground, understand what that process looks like. I'm just curious to know, from the moment that you got that phone call and where somebody said, "Hey, talk me out of this," to the moment you guys are at now. I'm sure there were many steps. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to ask you to go through every single one, but, it's always, I'm a new entrepreneur. I come from I'm a journalist. I used to just work for mainstream media corporations as an employee, and that was the end of it, right? You just do your job and you go home. But, now as an entrepreneur, I'm really curious as to, okay, you have this idea. What was your first step after you guys had that conversation? Did you have a lot of capital to invest? Did you have to do some sort of prototype stage? Like what did that look like in the initial stages?
So we did initially do a mock-up, and we did a mock-up in PowerPoint, and then we also did a pretty in-depth financial model to see if it was viable and looked at our competitors, and that's from my prior life. One other thing I'd highly recommend doing is there's two things beyond the model is the Sequoia venture capital their template for PowerPoint, which basically goes over problem, solution. So what's the problem you're trying to solve for? Do you address that with your solution? Who are your competitors? What does the business landscape look like? How are you going to, what's your path to revenue? And that's Darren, am I missing anything? Another one is the lean canvas template. They're kind of pains in the butts to fill out, but they really help you streamline what you're doing. And there's something called tangible addressable market, which is who's going to use it. And the real answer is not the world. Like I'll give you guys the example with Seeker. In theory, every company in the world could use Seeker, both professionals, service, anybody. But we realize where's the need most acute. And we realize the space that's really missing out are those frontline facing jobs, hourly and entry level jobs. That's where the problem's the biggest on the business side. And on the job seeker side, it was, oh my God, 18 to 24-year-olds, really 16 to 24-year-olds don't have the experience to build a resume, aren't native building resumes. They'd rather be on an app. So that's where the need was acute. So that's where we targeted. And then we dug in even further and realized the service sector is where the need's the most acute and where our product offers the best solution. So we're concentrating there. That doesn't mean we don't have eyes to expand out, but being very concentrated on who you're targeting is actually a good thing, not a bad thing.
I guess what I'm asking though,
the journey, the commitment. That's.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I guess I wanted more like, what were the actionable steps? I understand what you're saying, and yes, I'm reading a ton of books, and Danilo knows he's mentoring me as well. But like if you had to explain this to a first grader, what did you do? You had that conversation and then you invested a sum of money. How much was that money? Did you hire a coder? Yes, I understand you posted the model on PowerPoint. What next? What did you guys do?
So I would say even, what you're asking is a really great question to start thinking about the really tangible things that we had to do.
Yes.
So we spent a lot of time trying to understand the space because, I think about it's like, I worked in the space, Mike had too, but we hadn't worked in the space on the recruiting side, but we knew what the pain points were. So we ended up spending a lot of time talking to business owners. So we had a variety of friends and trying to talk to job seekers. We actually were trying to figure out how far to drill down into this and where to do it. So I think it was like almost a research phase, but it was also a lot of discussion. So if you saw any of our early work and even the earlier names for our business, so we went through so many iterations. The journey we've had already has been massive in terms of rights and left turns along the way and learning as we go. So that's the other thing too. I think we got some great advice from a CTO, but this is the other thing about this industry too. People are really friendly and want to help you. And I see that with this Huddle too. Everybody here wants everyone to be as successful as possible. And we all want to help each other. So we were incredibly surprised how easy it was to start talking to other startup founders and so forth. And the one piece of advice they said, it's like your startup ends when you give up. So I think that was the one that was the biggest one to take to heart. And it's like, and we have been on this journey a while. We've had setbacks and we've had things that that have been challenging. So really tangibly early, then we started to create a mock-up. We started building out a design to test our concept really in the real world. So we designed a version of the app that you could tap through. It wasn't actually an app yet. It was really just an experience enough for us to put it in someone's hands and have them tell us if they liked it. And in that case, we used a design tool called Figma, and we built a prototype. And then Mike and I decided our way of finding a set of job seekers at the time, because this was about a little over a year ago, I think. We crashed a job fair at the Hard Rock Casino, which was a really questionable thing to do because we're wandering around the casino floor at like 10 a.m., like two guys with their phones in their hands and like grabbing people as they come out of the job fair. But we got really incredibly good feedback. So it was one of those early win moments where you're like, yes. So all the job seekers were like this would have been great. Why didn't they use this? They being Hard Rock. We're like, we haven't built it yet. We're still pre-build in that case. But so at each step, you're sort of trying to confirm that your idea is viable, right? And this is for any business. All of us are doing this. We're always selling. We're always doing this. We're confirming what we're doing is a viable thing for other people to want to buy from us and or use. So we did that with the job fair, and eventually we kind of got found out. They were like, "Who are these two guys wandering around interrupting, stopping all of our job seekers?" So we went in and talked to the Hard Rock, and we didn't have our product yet, but they're like, "This is great. Like, come by sometime." And and at some point we will come back to them, but we haven't gotten to that. We're keeping our market narrow, but it was actually a great like reinforcement that they liked what they were seeing too, because what they saw, and this is when you like, so if any of you guys hop on the app and you see the pictures, that what a job seeker sees is actually really exciting. So one of the things that my favorite from those set of interviews was somebody said, "Is that business here?" And it was actually we'd mocked up some fake businesses to put on the app for business job seekers to see, but they'd come to the Hard Rock to apply for specific jobs. And when they were looking at our app, they're like, "Wait, is this place here at the Hard Rock? I want to work there too." So that was really great. Now, once we kind of were confirmed on how we wanted to execute, then we did, we brought on a CTO who's an old friend of mine, and then we did offshore some of the initial development for the product, and we've also built up a little bit of our recruiting capacity with some additional hires that we have that work with us to help, review candidates and do pre-screening. So we have the self-service capacity, which is all available to anybody to use. Grab the app, use it for free. But our recruiting capacity, where we provide the added value of pre-screening and helping schedule interviews and so forth, like that takes some onboarding with us. So that's what we've learned over the past really 6 months, that we needed to set it up that way. Mike, I don't know if you had something to add.
There's a couple things to add on, Natalia. Two things. One's to address funding. We're partially self-funded, and we also raised. We were fortunate that we had investors from day one. Okay. And then we raised a little more. We actually need to raise more, so we are still raising. That's the life of a startup. You're going to find as the CEO, you tend to do a lot of fundraising meetings, even though you want to do the other stuff, which is growing your damn business. So that gets a little frustrating.
Right.
The second part, and it takes being in this to take it to heart, there's the minimum viable product. You want to do and launch with the least you can to prove out.
Got it.
And don't spend all that time improving product. The minimum are people using it, do people like it? Then you start taking their suggestions and build out. Like, one thing we don't have in the product yet, but this was feedback from our customers, is actually a couple customers were saying, "God, I don't have time to check references," or comments like, "Man, I wish there was a way to really get a sense of how hard somebody works before the interview, because I can't even tell that on the interview." And that jogged both Darren and myself to think about a solution there. And we came up with something that we call Vouch, that we're in the process of building, where the job candidates, their teacher, they've never worked before, or their prior boss can vouch for them and basically give a reference saying, like, "Natalia's a hard worker. She comes to work on time." And that gives a lot of value to businesses, because they're saying, wow, someone, and we can tell who's vouching, someone is saying in position of authority that this person actually has these traits that are desirable. And on the flip side, that strengthens candidates as they climb their ladder. If they've been vouched for things such as work ethic or timeliness, they might not be on that college track, but these are valuable skills as they ladder themselves up and grow their careers. And sorry to jump in here and tell you all about Vouch, but that's just an example of we're minimum product on that. We're not full blown.
Awesome. Yeah. That is super helpful, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Love it. The other thing, and the cool thing is, you guys are doing the high growth startup track, but the concepts apply even to mom and pop startups, right?
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you want to test. And I think when you said that impacted me was, we as entrepreneurs, we want to jump into action and start selling something, right? But it really doesn't work that way, because the market tends to be, in most locations or most areas, saturated. So you got to go in there and find the gaps, talk to customers, see if the idea has legs, and then invest a little more and a little more. And it takes time. It's not about action immediately, right?
Yeah.
It's also about listening to your clients and trying to solve that problem. And don't go, my solution solves the problem. Really step back and say, does it? Can we improve that? Can we really get to their problem? So we've had many pivots in our journey, realizing, okay, from feedback from clients, this is where we should be. This is what we should be doing. Even if we think X, really Y is the problem. So solve for that problem.
Yeah, I love that. So last call for any questions, because we're running out of time. Last call for any questions or comments about our two guests today. I'll pass you the mic as soon as I see your hand up. But I wanted to ask you guys that the timing of your app, I think, is interesting. It was born like around the time of COVID. the world is changing, right? Labor and talent, the economy, all these things are changing, and you're kind of leading the way of in a new way of engaging between talent and employers, right? What other things are you seeing? What is changing? You mentioned some trends. Can you share more about that?
So yeah, absolutely. So and we have some trends that are very local to us in Miami that we're feeling and then some that are just the larger trends. I'll start with the job seeker trends a little bit, and then we can talk a little bit about Miami. But one of them is the job seekers. There's a recognition that when they're looking for an opportunity right now, they're kind of in a position of power to be selective about where they'd like to work and how they'd like to work. And I think that's actually something when embraced does really well. So I don't know if I imagine most everyone here saw the Chick-fil-A owner that decided to go to a 4-day work week with longer hours, and how he immediately solved his staffing problem, because that started to create flexibility for his workforce, right? So what we were learning as we talk to job seekers, we're hearing a lot of that. It's not that there's not an interest in working. It's like our entire view of work changed over a traumatic period for the country and for everyone. So job seekers will come and work hard, but their lives change. So they want to work with a business or partner, like an employer, that's going to figure out how to also be flexible with them and be really modern thinking about how they interact with their employees. And we really encourage that. And we know that not every business can do that. That is not an easy thing for every type of business to commit to, but it is interesting to think about how do you innovate in ways that get job seekers excited about committing. And we hear that from job seekers. Like, if I find that place I can work with that's really flexible with me, and we build the community of the team that works at a given restaurant, for instance, like they get a lot more excited about hearing that. And we get that from some of our clients too. Like, one of the groups we're setting up, they're opening a new location. Their previous locations, they've been really committed to keeping their workers happy, and it has worked well for them. They have no need to hire there, but they're setting up a new location. So they have very high standards, but they also have a way of working and finding their talent that then when they come, they stay. The other big one is commute. The commute time is huge, and that's something both job seekers and businesses have talked about and complained about. The further away they are, the less likely they are to stay. And one of our businesses is a franchise. The business owner, he tries to hire people that live optimally within 3 miles of his shop, but oftentimes is hiring 5 or further, and he finds the quit rate is significantly higher. And this is kind of obvious, but it is something to think about, that distance, especially as Miami, we continue to get more people moving down and more traffic. Yeah. And that's a big problem for establishments on the beach. They're actually getting their jobs are that Wynwood and Brickell are poaching a lot of their jobs. And part of that is competitive pay, and they don't have to travel as far. So we thought that was really interesting, and I thought I'd share it with you guys. Thank you for that. Yeah, that's very interesting. I think that we got tired of, I think COVID took away our tolerance for traffic gridlock, right? Completely.
Yeah. So Victoria has a question, has her hand up. Victoria, happy Friday.
Hey guys, happy Friday. How are you, Danilo?
I'm doing great, Victoria. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Just wanted to ask the gentleman, when will the app be ready?
So we're in market. Yeah.
You are in the market already?
It's available already, yes.
Oh.
We launched a few months ago.
And how do I find it?
So type in Seeker Work, either in the Android or App Store. And our website is www.seeker.work. And without the E. We can put that in the chat.
All right, great. You guys are the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria.
You're welcome.
So feel free to reach out. We dropped our emails in there. We'd love to hear from anybody and everybody here. We're excited to be part of this community. So thank you again.
Absolutely. And welcome back anytime, right? You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you, we don't have a lot of high growth startups, a few in the morning huddle. But in general terms, for us that have small businesses or are starting a new small business, what is given your experience, which is in this very competitive, it's a particular track that you're on, this high growth idea. Hopefully it becomes a unicorn, right? That would be
that's our goal.
The best thing. Take over and make sure that everybody uses the word seeker like they use Xerox, right? I'm going to Xerox that paper. And and I'm going to vouch for that guy on the app, right? Make it like vocabulary that they use. That being said, what's the best piece of advice that you can give those on the call today?
I still think it was the advice we got. For me, it was the advice we got. It's like, don't give up. Like these journeys end when you give up. I don't think it matters what type of business you are. So we intend to be a super high growth startup that goes everywhere. But right now we are a Miami business. We're a local Miami business. And we always will be. Like, this Miami's home for us. So we stuck with it through like the challenging times. Like, we saw the market shift and we've stuck with it. We've seen smaller startups that were starting to play in a similar space have fallen off in the meantime. So it's not an easy road. I know all of you being in business know how it's not an easy road to keep your business going. So that's the one thing that I've taken away, is staying committed to it and trying to weather the hard times. This is one of the reasons it's great to have a co-founder. So Mike and I can lean on each other.
That's true.
Through the challenging times for setting up and standing up any business. And then for us now, it's like, it's so awesome to be here with you, Danilo, and with this group. It's like a supportive community is how everyone succeeds. And ideally, rising tides lift all boats, right? So we want to see our community be successful. We want to be here to help our community. So that's mine, Mike.
Excellent.
And mine is, make sure you're solving a problem. And that could be even like opening, for instance, a new bakery, saying, wow, there's no amazing sourdough bakery and there's demand for that. So make sure what you're building actually has a use and that people will be excited for that. And that can be a new product or an existing product. Is there that space? For us, we realize that LinkedIn is great for professionals and it's great for technical coders and things like that. But we realized there was this big gap for service sector, for frontline workers. And that's the space where we're solving for.
Awesome. Well, listen, let's give them all a big round of applause, guys. This is the team. I have the team, right? Because you're 4?
Yeah. We're 6, actually. 6.
Oh, wow. Wow. So you're growing. Thank you so much for your generosity and for your time today. I want to ask you one last question. How can we help you guys in what you're doing? What's the best way to do that?
Thank you. And thanks, everybody. Really, we love everybody's feedback. So take a look. If you've got notes, if you've got thoughts, if you want to meet with us, we also want to we want to be engaged with our community. Reach out. We'd love to get to know everyone here. Our product may or may not be a good fit, but really, as other business owners, and Mike and I are very much this way. We love getting feedback for us to be thinking all the time and improving what we're doing and figuring out the best ways to interact with our community. Because we get heads down sometimes and get too busy and forget to we need to be out with everyone who's going through the same things, and we want to be supportive that way. So that's what we love. That's what we love. I'm just glad we got the invite, and thank you, Danilo, for that. And
thank you so much for having us on, everyone. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Michael, what would you say?
In terms of
how we can help. Darren said feedback and engage.
Yeah, echoing Darren's words, the feedback and the engagement. That's big for us. Because we just launched, we are new. We really value that. And the other thing is, if you guys know anybody, both on the job seeker side who's looking for a job, we'd love to throw them on. We can even help with headshots and things like that, and how to present yourself best. And for businesses as well, we'd love if you guys know service, hotels, anything like that, bars that could use us, please let them know. We need help spreading the word.
Fantastic. I said I wouldn't do this, but I see Dane from Entrepreneur Ready with his hand up. So I'm going to go make an exception in Dane's case. Go ahead, Dane. You have something to say?
I just wanted to plug the process and the philosophy that y'all are talking through. Danilo's had me on a couple of weeks before to talk about this, but we have a 6 or 9 month program to walk people through this process of de-risking, doing customer discovery and prototyping rapidly, try to remove as much risk from your process as possible. We have 300 seats here in Miami that are paid for by JP Morgan Chase. So it's free to participate for anybody that wants to get coaching on this and really go through this process to take your business through exactly what they described. So I'll put the link in the chat. Just wanted to connect that dot. Thank you, Darren.
That's great. We'd love to. Yeah.
No, go ahead, Darren.
No, I was gonna say, Dane, that sounds fantastic. We'd love to connect. I think I heard you on the meeting a couple of weeks ago when you were talking about the program. So I'd love to learn more, but obviously offline.
Great. Well, thank you all for connecting. Thank you all for being part of the Morning Huddle. Let's give again Darren and Michael another big round of applause, guys. Thank you so much for the
Thanks, all.
wealth of expertise and knowledge that you share with us. And please come
Thank
back.
you so much.
Come back anytime. And we wish you the best of luck. And we are going to engage with your app and give you feedback on it. It's what we do in the huddle. So thank you all so much. And we're rooting for you because you guys are a local startup.
Local startup, local founders. So thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you for helping put Miami on the map. So with that, guys, thank you for making the morning huddle great. And we'll do it again next Friday. We have our guest from Ascendus. So a CDFI that you need to know about. So we'll see you then next Friday. Thank you all so much. Have a great weekend.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.